Welcome to my video on how to attract your ideal customer. This is part of my mini series on YouTube on how to make money online from home. Whether you're a beginner or a small business owner, or whether you're an internet marketeer or an affiliate marketeer that maybe just hasn't had enough time to think about this, or what you're doing on the internet is part of a side hustle and you're juggling as many balls as you can as well as you can, but you just haven't had the time to step back and think a little bit more about, well, not just who is any customer, but who is my ideal customer. Because ultimately, everybody wants customers. And on online, that means everybody wants traffic. But you don't just want traffic, you want targeted traffic. You want traffic and consumers that are interested, that's your ideal target market, that are interested in your product or service or whatever you're selling. Better to get a small number of highly targeted customers who could be your future raving fans rather than a mass market of lots of people who are, that's interesting, but I'm not going to buy. That will certainly help you make you more efficient and effective. Now, my belief is that the customer is out there. There is the target traffic out there on the internet. Your challenge is you've just got to find it. And then once you've found it, you can put your offer in front of it and then see what happens from there. Then we can work on the optimization and make things work even better. And if you like the sound of this, then at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a couple of real, simple, practical suggestions that I think you're really going to love that can have an immediate impact once you're much clearer on who your ideal target customer is. So, first of all, in order to attract your ideal customer, you've got to know who your ideal customer is. The more precise you have, the more clarity you have on who your ideal customer is, then guess what? The easier it is to attract that ideal customer because you'll be thinking along those lines. You'll have that same mindset. So they can feel like you're talking to them as if you are one of them. So let's get into that then. Who exactly is your ideal customer? So this isn't just about getting sales from anybody. It's about who do you enjoy doing business with? Who would you prefer to do business with? Who would you like as a repeat customer? Who would you like as a customer who's likely to refer you then onto their friends and colleagues? So it makes it easier for you to do business and makes it easier for you to grow your business. A couple of thoughts. Firstly, the demographics. When you think about your ideal customer and you're building up this avatar or this profile, what does that customer looks like? If you can embody it into one single person, male or female, what's their age? Roughly what age or what age range would they be? What do they do? Do they work? Do they not work? Are they part-time? Income. What's their income level at the moment? What sort of salary or money are they bringing in? Who are you appealing to? Who would you like to appeal to income level wise? What's their gender? What's their status? Are they married? Are they not married? Have they got kids? Have they not got kids? Are they living alone? Are they living with other people? Are they in the city? Are they out in the country? Do they have a car? Do they not have a car? Start thinking about if you met this person in the, what would they look like? How old would they be? What would their income, gender, their status? See if you can answer these questions accurately, or at least put your best guess. Think about their lifestyle. So as well as the hard facts around age, what they do, their income, their gender, their status, what's their lifestyle like? What hobbies do they have? What do they do for fun? What magazines do they read? What do they watch on TV? Do they not watch any TV or not? Do they like going to the movies? Do they like watching Netflix? Do they like reading the newspaper? And also, what are their goals? What are their aspirations? Not just where they are now, but where they would like to be. Because the more you can understand this, the more you can appeal and attract to that customer. Also, the next stage is thinking about how do they feel at the moment? What are some of their frustrations? What are they worried about? What keeps them up at night? And also, what do they love to do? What are their aspirations? The more you can understand what their aspirations are or how they feel, the easier it is to step into their shoes. Because people buy for emotional reasons. So the more you can understand where they're at emotionally, if you can understand the emotional state they're in at the moment, and then take them to a better emotional state, one that's associated then with your product or your service. If they feel like you're one of them, if they feel like you understand them, and then you're offering them something that's going to make them feel better or make their life a little bit easier, or offer them a shortcut, or offer them that's going to improve their life in some way, or take away some of their pain or their hassle or their hardship, there's a much bigger chance that they're going to want to at least test or try your product or your service. So my challenge for you is to come up with a photo and name. Think of it as if you're at a police station. You had to come up with a photo fit of what your ideal customer is. Have a search on Google. What would they look like? Pull a picture off Google of somebody who represents your ideal age range, feelings, aspirations, doubts, fears of where your ideal customer is at. The ideal customer who could be a raving fan for your product or service, who would love to buy or interact with your product or service and recommend it to others. So I remember many moons ago, this is probably going back 15, 16 years ago, here in the UK, I worked with a big biscuit manufacturer called McVitie's. And I remember going into a meeting at McVitie's and they were talking about Sarah. Would Sarah like this? Would Sarah like that? And I had to pause for a moment and think, actually, I'm not quite sure who is Sarah. Somebody who's recently joined? Is she started? Is she the new manager director? Is she the new CEO? I hadn't heard Sarah's name before. And they said, no, we've just been having a discussion about who our ideal customer is. And for biscuits, they decided it was Sarah. Sarah was somebody who was a mum of two who just dropped the kids off at school. The first half an hour back home was her time to put the kettle on, have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and to watch a bit of breakfast time TV to relax a little bit. And that's who we were targeting as our ideal customer for biscuits. She was the ideal target market because she put the kettle on and then she'd also reward herself by sitting down, have a 5 or a 10-minute break and having a biscuit at the same time. So in the future, when we started looking at what packaging, how should we promote this? How should we advertise this? What blogs should we advertising? What sort of print media should we do? What sort of lead magnet or free offer or free gift or promotion in the supermarket or the hypermarket? We always ask the question, what would Sarah think about this? Would Sarah like this? Would this add value in for Sarah? Would this entice Sarah? Would she go tell her friends about this? So once you get clarity on what that avatar or what that profile is like, honestly, it can make a huge difference. Whether it's a 1% change or whether it's a 180-degree change, it can make a huge difference to what you do and how you pitch your product and service. Now, once you know who your ideal customer is, and now you've got that pen portrait and that picture, what is the hook or what is the bait that I need to attract that ideal customer? In the example of Sarah with McVitie's, what would add the value? What would make Sarah's life a little bit easier? What would make it a little bit simpler? What would reward her? What would she feel really good about whilst using or consuming or buying your product or using your service? Just by knowing who your ideal customer is, then you can think about what would that ideal bait or hook be? What would that lead magnet be? What would that offer, that bonus, that gift that would tempt them to share their email address with you so they then come into your funnel, so they become part of your family, part of your raving fans. But first of all, you've got to get them into that family first of all. So knowing who they are, what will be the bait or the hook? What would tempt them? What entice them to come and sign up with you, to share their email address? Lastly, now you've got the bait, now thinking about where am I going to fish? Can I go and fish where the fish are? So don't wait for them to come to you. How can I go to them and engage them? Where are they congregating? Where do they hang out? So what blogs do they read? What newspapers do they read? What Facebook groups do they go to? Where do they post questions, Reddit or on forums? So try and figure out, now you know who your ideal customer is. Now you've got an idea of what bait would add value or make their life a little bit easier or make them feel better about themselves or what they're doing. Where can you now go and fish where the fish are? Rather than just casting your net into the ocean and hoping you might catch one or two, how can you go where you know your ideal customer is already congregating? So just think about and reflect on, where are they? If in doubt, go into Google and put whatever the search term is that your customers would go and search for on the internet. Put that search term. So say, for instance, if it's fishing, put fishing and then put forum at the end. Put it into Google and see what comes up. Google will give you suggestions of the forums that they're hanging out. It'll probably give you suggestions of the Facebook groups or pages that they visit. Go into those forums, go into those Facebook pages, spend a bit of time getting to know your customer. What questions come up? What fears have they got? What problems have they got? If you can add value first in those forums or in those Facebook groups, engage with them first, add some value first, answer some of their questions, give them some helpful hints or shortcuts. Then you can cast your hook. Then you can put your link in or your suggestion or your lead magnet or something you can offer them for free in order to get them into your funnel, in order for them to wantingly share their email address. So know who your ideal customer is, get a profile for them, print out a picture if necessary, print out a picture above your computer. It might be Bob and it might be Sarah. Keep that in your mind. So keep that perspective when you're thinking about your next advert or your next piece of copy or your next blog or your next lead magnet. Because if you can put yourself into their shoes, see it from their perspective, they're much more likely to buy into the service of what you need. Then you can also go and find where they are, hang out where they are. Then you can offer them that service. So they're more likely to want to sign up and be at least have a look at or have a try out or have a listen to whatever you've got to say or the product or service that you've got to offer. I hope this has been useful. It certainly was a big eye-opener for me when I first came across this concept. Take the time, please. Do that profile, do that avatar, print out that picture. Honestly, it can make a massive difference. If you enjoyed these, please comment down below. Please share this with others if you know somebody else who's thinking about setting up or driving their business or struggling with their business. I know this will spark some insights, some light bulb moments, some ahas for the people. So please do share or like or subscribe down below this video. I'd really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you and seeing you on the next video.